We're gonna watch Odette versus ElephantMan. The first game is gonna be 1v1. It's a best of 7. So 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, 4v4, 2v2, 4v4, and 1v1 are the 7 games, 7 potential games. In the betting challenge, Toby O is the unique bettor, having predicted a victory for ElephantMan here. But in my opinion, Odette is definitely the favorite. But let's see. At least we need some sound from the game. Okay, so Wattle, you are an expert about the sound. Can you tell me that the balance between my microphone and the sound from the game is okay? Okay, I assume that at this point you've got sound from the game now. Okay, now there is. And just can you confirm that if I put against the trailer, there will be sound this time? So do you hear the music this time? There is music, okay, thank you. Sounds okay. Alright, so let's focus on this game. So ElephantMan does have a pure villagers micro in Dark Age. There is some idle scouts, that's pretty good. But the rest looks to be okay. I don't know where is the Odette scout. Okay, the scout is just stuck to the llama camp for some reasons. That's pretty weird. Especially when you see that the scout is also close to the lumber camp, red side. That's really weird. I don't know if this is a bug from the game or a bug from the AIs. Okay, what else? I will decrease the sound from the game. You are the expert in this. Yeah, definitely I think that it's a bug from the game. Okay, Blue eventually moved his scout. So we saw that ElephantMan is quite strong in FFA. It already showed a lot in Davis Cup 7, but Odette being one of those quite aggressive AIs, I think that the 1v1 is gonna be hard for ElephantMan. And Odette is not too far from finding its opponent. Yep. Yeah, I think it would be a disaster if ElephantMan loses its scout at this point, because it definitely needs to find its opponent. Oh oh, too bad ElephantMan. Now it's all about its ability to go for a fast castle before being under the pressure. So 100 food is missing. Alright, so ElephantMan managed to go for castle. And Odette didn't find any stable from the enemy, so it might keep going for skirmishes at the moment. Okay, this time it does know that Red is gonna go for cavalry, so that should be adapting its strategy. Anyway, Odette knows that the opponent go for a fast castle, so it shouldn't train that many army at this point. Hello, Peter's boy. Hello, Pax AOE. Yeah, unfortunately you won't see Armenian or Georgian players in Davis Cup 7. But yeah, already few AIs are already able to play those musics, as what was said. Alright, so Odette goes for Wellbarrow. It already keeps its resources to research Castle Age as soon as possible. That's really unfortunate. ElephantMan suffered from this scout bug because it's really far from finding its opponent. But maybe in case the elephant are chasing the skirmishers should go back home. So maybe that's a good way for ElephantMan to find its opponent. So at this point, ElephantMan looks to be safe. Yeah, I think that ElephantMan will find its opponent eventually. So Odette switched for arches, and I think that it's already researching Castle Age now. That might be a decent time. And that's it, ElephantMan found its opponent. Alright, so Odette is in Castle Age. I just misread what happened because I thought that Odette was still in Feudal Age. And we should see crossbows and pikemen researched. The priority is given to +1 for the infantry and knights. Civilian population is exactly the same. We've got a small advantage in the military population for Odette, of course, but ElephantMan is the one having the most powerful units, with 6 elephants. Alright, I can increase my voice. Okay, let me know if this is better. I guess it is. This is better, okay. Thank you, R&D. Alright, so let's compare the civilian population now. 48 for both. We've got 2 TCs for ElephantMan and a 3rd TC for Odette, which might be able to take an advantage in this pretty soon. Alright, the first assault from ElephantMan. Actually, Odette is one of the 3 AIs undefeated in Davis Cup 7 with Immortal and Rehoboom. So it's gonna be interesting to see if Odette managed to stay undefeated after its matches against ElephantMan. That's all about those crossbows, which need to do a lot to defend. We might have already some pikemen also for Odette. Yes, we've got pikemen with +1 attack, +2 defense. Let's see if it's gonna be enough. And of course, ElephantMan uses TSA, so it was pretty important for this AI to play with the previous patch, like other AIs like the Unknown and some others. Alright, so slowly Odette's civilian population is increased faster than ElephantMan's side. 66 against 63. 4 villagers difference. With 3 TCs for Odette and 3 TCs for ElephantMan. Okay, so it's gonna be pretty close. Looking at the score, we see that the advantage is given to Odette, but I assume that it's also about the exploration. Well, Odette didn't explore that much, so it might be because of the kill ratio, I guess. University. It looks like Odette considers that it does have enough pikemen at this point, because the main units look to be crossbows and knights at this point. Alright, so we've got 5 villagers difference. And 23 military population. It shouldn't be too far from attacking its opponent, I guess. Yep, here we go. It attacks with 25 military population. Oh, this is the moment chosen by ElephantMan to attack his side. So we might see here a decisive battle, while Odette is not too far from having the resources to reach Imperial Age. Alright, so that just research Imperial Age. So now Odette will need to defend. Alright, I have seen, yes, one elephant on that side. we've got the same civilian population, 120. Alright, Wellborough is eventually researched by ElephantMan after almost 40 minutes. What did the scripter? What a big mistake from Esty. Wellborough might be researched way faster than that. And it looks like ElephantMan is not escrowing any resource to go up. And we've got a bunch of karambit. So this population is increasing step by step. Odette, ElephantMan, sorry, it's stuck at 140 population at its maximum. So we've got Herbalist for that. Alright, at least when a mangonel is close to a group of archers, the infantry and scouts or cavalry around will target the mangonel with the UC. And in very late game, Odette stopped microing its archers when it does have at least 40 archers. But as melee, Arbalest is not the main unit, so it won't train that many of them. The main unit looks to be Karambit and Elephant. Yeah, actually I think that Odette is winning. I will increase the speed. ElephantMan won't resist a long time now it's under 100 population. So that is winning the 1v1. Looking at the statistics, it was quite predictable. Alright, we've got Elite Karambit. And I assume that Elite Battle Elephant would have been the next upgrade. So GG. And once again it looks like 1v1 is not the best setting for ElephantMan. So Odette stays with a win ratio of 100% in 1v1, and at least this is the weakest point for ElephantMan. 2v2 looks to be quite better for ElephantMan with 83% victories. So let's see how it's gonna turn. Alright, so I will need civilization for the second Odette. Yes, thank you, Wattle. Yeah, I did a lot of work about the settings. It was quite funny to do, but it's spent a lot of time. Alright, so I am using the random civilization selector. And that's gonna be Goss for Odette. Yeah, so about the statistic, we can have a quick look. So I think that Shadow versus Barbarian is going to be really interesting. Looking at the statistic, we see that it might be a close match. The betting challenge show that half of the people think that Shadow is going to be the winner. I am one of those. While Leif Erikson, Wattle, Mr. Elephant, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Tobio have faith in Barbarian. And I'm also looking for Tutor Master versus Maya. We also can see that the challenger of the betting challenge half for Tutor Master, half for Maya. And definitely the general versus the GAI is gonna be really interesting. Sorry for the noise in the background. Anyway, we see that 2v2 and 4v4 are the best settings for the general. And it's also the case for DEI, which is a beast in 4v4. The unique game it lost was versus Immortal, but it won the whole other games. It's also interesting to notice that Nagua and Promi are also undefeated in 4v4, despite having faces some quite strong AIs. So I'm quite happy to have DEI in the top 16 because Promiscutive took part to DE, so it is a way to have Promiscutive AI still in the competition. And in my opinion, Immortal versus the Unknown is gonna be the most one-sided. And looking at the statistic, we've got 100% win ratio versus 57, 57 being maybe the lowest one, with Eagle's Revenge, which is 59% victories. Alright, so let's go back to Odette versus ElephantMan. Yes, of course, the bettings are integrated inside. So it will be the case for the rest of the tournament. And for this story, I think that, well, I noticed that Immortal versus the Unknown is the lonely match in which all the better went for one player, which is of course Immortal. And even Rehoboam versus Tribal, someone bet for Tribal. I think this is a Randy. So thank you, Randy, for having faith on Tribal, but definitely I think that betting for Tribal was a mistake. So I will focus on the scout this time. It looks like this time the scout is not bugging for any player. So I keep thinking that there was a bug in the previous map for some reasons. Let me check if the yellow didn't find its berries. Oh, you're true. Yes, it didn't find its berry. That's pretty bad. I think I have made some rules in case the berries are not found. Because the bad thing would be ElephantMan to stay stuck in in Dark Age just because it won't build a mill. At least Red does have its mill. So let's see, it's all about this scout, which is unfortunately going back to explore. At least it will build its main income, so it might be able to research next stage. But I'm scared that without farms it will stay stuck anyway. It just needs a mill. Yeah, so that's pretty unfortunate for yellow. Alright, so it looks like red is not gonna attempt to fast castle. It is training some scouts to defend against the skirmishers, and it also goes for some infantry. So it goes for a market to deal with the extra resources. Alright, so blue player goes for archers. So it is adapting to the enemy's army composition. So spearmen and archers is the choice here. So green is playing like Sun Tzu, just running around the enemy's TC. Or I would say Black Spark would do the same, I think. So at this point, Red is not too far from researching the next stage. Yes, Night Panda, maybe. Maybe no elephant. Yeah, because red is delaying its Castle Age just to have something against those archers and pikemen. Yeah, I think that's unfortunately for red, it will keep being under pressure right now. So at this point Odette stays undefeated because I'm pretty sure that this game is another victory for Odette. Alright, once again red managed to clean up its town. But blue is researching Castle Age. Alright, I think that I can give the victory to Odette anyway. Looking at red. Yeah, okay. So GG Odette. 2-0 at this point. Alright, so I need 2 new sieves for Odette. Burmese and Teutonic. Alright, so 3v3 is gonna be interesting because in 41 games ElephantMan won its whole 3v3. And Odette its side played 3v3 and won its whole games in this setting. So this is gonna be now or never for ElephantMan. So actually none of the players have researched Loom, which means that the start was fine for the 6 players. So in the team games you should see something new for Odette, especially the pocket, which might focus the enemy's pocket instead of the enemy's flank. So we will see if everything works as I expect. ElephantMan side, we've got meal for the 3 players, which is a good news. And if I'm right, ElephantMan can switch his strategy in going for defensive scouts and infantry as flank only in 1v1 and 2v2. So we shouldn't see this in 3v3, 4v4. If I'm right, I don't remember. It's something I added like 2 months ago. We've got one idle villager. For some reasons. Okay, it's back to work. That's a pretty good time as melee for Odette. As melee it should go for archers. And okay, as Teutonic it will go for scouts, despite the fact that as Teutonic don't research light cavalry, it doesn't matter much. The main units being knights plus crossbows in Castle Age anyway. Alright, so ElephantMan is quietly researching Feudal Age. Alright, we got the market and blacksmith for yellow. Alright, the scouts were busy chasing the yellow scout, so Tilly is just wasting a bit of its time instead of harassing its opponent. Yeah, so purple was untouched and will have a pretty decent castle each time. Yeah, red is missing some gold, delaying its castle age in a bad way. Unfortunately, it might have not seen any other spot of gold. And if it does have the 100 wood, yes, okay. That's a good point. Yeah, the market is a good idea for red. So it might be able to research next stage. That's it. Alright, so Chile is actually doing a good job. It looks like it killed almost 2 villagers, maybe more I would say. Alright, good. It is researching Castle Age after the early scout rush. And so green, as the pocket player, is gonna target yellow instead of an enemy's flank, which is exactly what I wanted. I bet a victory for Odette. And if you want to see quickly who bet for ElephantMan, this is Tobio. Everyone else bet for Odette. Alright, so the harassment looks to work quite well against yellow. Yeah, yellow is supposed to mean gold, stone I mean. This is actually the case, but it needs to relocate its mining camp. Alright, actually we've got a pressure from purple. Let's compare the civilian population between green and yellow. Yeah, it's almost the same population for both. I assume that the monk is doing a lot, converting some elephant and knights. And yellow is not too far from having the resources to build a castle. That might help a lot. Red is not too bad, 43 civilian population, it's under pressure but it's far from being dead. We've got a decent new TC, so as long as it's not attacked. Alright, the third TC. While Odette is actually having one TC and one under construction. So the question is where yellow is gonna build its castle. Alright, it's a pretty good castle for yellow. So it is overall a close game, as the statistics told us. A 100% victory for each at this point. So yellow is gonna turn scary soon. It already starts to mass Karambit. And teal is clearly under pressure. Red and blue are having a close battle. For some reason green do have quite a good score. And it's really close. Yes, it is researching Imperial Age. So that's gonna be a pretty decent Imperial Age time for green. It looks like teal and purple are not attacking that much. Alright, let's go yellow. Yeah, teal does have a dozen of units to defend. It might not be enough. And I assume that as soon as purple does have a military advantage on teal, it should join the battle. I'm scared that red will suffer soon. Green should attack red with blue. So the game should turn in 3v2 pretty soon. ElephantMan needs to kill teal quite fast. Teal is actually 110 population. And yellow is researching Imperial Age with 143 and 23 military population, but this is Karambit, so it should be more than 20. It should be the double, maybe 40. And as expected, purple joins the battle now. And green is sending its units on red. Red was already in a bad shape against blue, so it's gonna be too much. So red is 93 population and 120 for teal. And blue is in Imperial Age. Alright, teal is gonna be in Imperial Age too, but gonna suffer too much, I guess. Alright, the TC researching Imperial Age is the main TC. Yes, he needs help, of course. Let me check if purple is close to being Imperial Age. I don't think so. Yeah, no, it's far from being in Imperial Age. And green and blue are switching the target from the next one, which is at least yellow for blue, and I would say that purple should be the next target for green. And Teal researched Imperial Age for nothing because it's actually 44 population. So this is basically a 2v2 now, but Odette does have the age advantage, purple being a bit too low. Green does have elite battle elephants. Yellow does have elite karambit. Alright, purple is in Imperial Age. What about yellow now? Yellow is 120 population. And it's losing its castle in the front. Yeah, it looks like blue will win against yellow. It's full population. Alright, I will increase the speed. Alright, teal is 7 population and red is 0 population. Alright, so purple is below 100 population now. So it looks like Odette won the 3v3. So this is the first time ElephantMan loses a 3v3 in this tournament. Alright, so we've got the fourth game, 4v4. And I need 3 new civilizations for that. Alright. Alright, so it's 100 victory in 4v4 for Odette against 91 for ElephantMan. So 4v4 stays a strong setting for ElephantMan. Now I'm curious to see what exact score was bet by Tobio. In case he bet a 4-3 for ElephantMan, it means that Tobio still can win the betting challenge, at least this match. Alright, Tobio bet 4-2 against Odette, so it won't be a perfect betting in case ElephantMan wins the whole last games. Anyway, hello Kewa Shako. So actually the score is 3-0 for Odette. Odette stays undefeated in this tournament after 24 games. Yes, of course there is Kyofu. I can show it just after this match. So probably in 25 minutes if Odette plays without PT against ElephantMan. I'm happy to see that ElephantMan found its berries, each player. The 2v2 was very unlucky for ElephantMan. So, Odette should go for a scout rush, both sides as Tatar and Spanish. And it's gonna be interesting because in the 3v3 the scout rush didn't work that well against ElephantMan. So maybe it can offer some opportunities for ElephantMan to do more than just survive as flank. And concerning the pocket Odette side, we should see them targeting their closest pockets. So let's see. Yeah, we should see teal targeting orange, no, targeting purple, and green targeting yellow, if everything is fine. But at least it requires to have a good exploration. In case green doesn't find yellow, it should target a red player. But the exploration tends to be fine for that in general. Alright, so I'm surprised to see that as Spanish, Odette goes for archers, or at least skirmishers. And we've got, okay, as Spanish it goes for stable, but as Malay, okay, I was wrong, as Malay, at least it goes for skirmishers and archers. Wow, the lumber camp chosen is pretty far. Alright, so this behavior from the scouts reminds me the game before. The scout from enemy's pocket, making the scouts busy instead of going to harass the opponent. So this is just ideal for range, which is already researching Castle Age. And so does red, okay. So blue is kind of annoying for red, with some micro from the infantry and light cavalry. So teal did find yellow, and I assume that green did find purple, so that might be the target chosen by the pockets. Alright, so the harassment is working pretty well for blue. Red just can't train any elephant at this point. The situation looks to be different for orange, with already some elephants. Alright, so as expected, green is attacking yellow. Yeah, so definitely going for Scout Rush doesn't work for Odette against ElephantMan, while going for the skirmishers works pretty well. Yeah, Grey stays quite passive, but it is researching Castle Age, so it's okay. It's time to compare the population for the pockets. Green is actually 44 civilian population and 10 military population. Teal is 46 civilian population and almost 60 population. Wow. Orange is actually, no, purple is actually suffering a lot. 35 population. So actually yellow is not too bad, but purple is in a bad shape, so is red. And it looks like blue does have more elephants than ElephantMan, the red player at least. Which is a bad symptom for ElephantMan. Oh, I think that this TC won't be deleted. So, Teal should lose a lot of... Grey, I mean, should lose a lot of villagers trying to pull this TC. Alright, nice to see Yellow, which does have the castle to start training some Karambit. And blue does have the double the civilian population compared to red, so definitely yellow needs to help and to start pushing. At this point green looks to be kind of powerless against yellow, but I assume that it does have a way better economy. Actually almost 80 civilian population for green against 70, so it's not too far. Right, it's good point green to have switched the targets from yellow to red. Alright, so nice to see the cavaliers from the Burgundians. Yeah, there will be sound this time. And yeah, I think that orange is great against grey. But Teal looks to be proactive after having killed red. It's now starting to help grey, I guess. So Teal is researching Imperial Age, so is green. While yellow is investing a lot of its resources in training units to keep trying to hurt blue, but it doesn't work at this point. Blue does have a pretty decent defense now with a lot of elephants, a castle up soon. And if we compare grey and orange, yeah, clearly orange did take a clear advantage on grey. So we've got 3 players in Imperial Age. Teal, green and blue. We've got some idle units from blue for some reasons. So definitely grey is gonna die, but it won't be enough for ElephantMan. Teal and green goes to attack together yellow. Red looks to be definitely dead. Yes, 10 population for red. So yeah, game it looks to be already over. It looks to be a 4-0 for Odette. So Odette stays undefeated in this tournament with Immortal and Boom. Actually, grey does have 1 TC in the back, well 2 TC in the back of its town. So pushing together works pretty well. Yellow is already dead in no time. Orange is kind of scary, his side. But I'm scared that it will be the next target pretty soon now. Purple looks to be unable to defend in 1 versus 3. Attacked by teal, green, blue. And teals should switch the target pretty soon now. He assumes that it detects orange as the new attacker. Alright, so let's go fast now. So Teal is attacked by orange but stays full population. He does have paladins, yes. Alright, so orange is less than 100 population. So GG. It was almost one-sided, I would say.